get started, because we're playing music, Cortland, I find, there's lots of different ways that people move into state. And of course, we know scientifically, if you're in a better state, energetically, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever your intention is, just the power of what you can create in a positive or energetic state is, incredible, right?
Yeah, it's very magnetic. It's very purposeful music, very
So, so,
purposeful.
so when we talk about music, I find that music for me is like a form of meditation in the morning. It's like I
Mm,
listen to the music, I've got my workout, I've got my, all of a sudden the body starts moving,
hmm
you know, and then I happen to have a rhythm. So, we get that stuff going too.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, like music, I mean, musical notes, it's all like frequency. It's all
Yes.
frequency, So, uh, and we talked about that a little bit last month about being frequencies of vibration. So you're absolutely right. It definitely gets us in the state. So, yeah, let's
On
let's rock
on
and roll
frequency. On
on
frequency.
frequency.
One thing before I forget, book that I'm reading that completely blew my mind. I started reading it hard, like a hardback book, and it
hmm
was it was a little slow for me to read it that way because it's
hmm
got a lot of long words. Not that I can't read, but it's just like to mentally process it.
hmm
I got it on audio and it's just like boom. And it was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Oh, that's a good book.
Joe Dispenza.
That's a good
I
book.
Yeah, so I started listening to it on my hike and I was like, "Oh my gosh, when we're talking about frequency, we're talking about energy, we're talking about how we create." So I want to recommend that. It's Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. So pick that one up.
That's a
Um,
good one.
yeah,
That's a
well,
good one. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good one.
So we're here, part two of our three-part series with Mr. Cortland Warren. Cortland Warren, who you saw on the cover of Success Magazine, or not the cover, but 8-page spread. He was the feature of Success Magazine. Talk about the power of creation. He shared last time how he kind of envisioned this, decades ago, and here it is, brought to fruition. Um, and is currently spearheading the new program with Success Magazine, with Success Coaching. So really excited to see how that develops, Cortland.
hmm hmm
But I snagged you before you got super famous, and so we've got you here for the next this session for the next hour, and then one more session next month. So
hmm
thank you so much, Cortland, for giving of your time and for being who you are.
Well, you're welcome, and I appreciate you. And I'm actually in Houston today. What is it? Level Up something,
Oh,
some event. And Leo, the CEO.
Pareja? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's speaking after me. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, Leo. I don't know if that's a good. He's like, I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but hey. So anyway, that's where I am. But I actually took an earlier flight this morning, Rosie. I took an earlier flight, like a 6:20 a.m. flight, so that I could be here, not have to move this because I want to keep my commitment to you and to this group for our series. So I'm in my room early, and we're ready to rock and roll. If you're ready to go, we're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I got some people trying to get in. However, I will let them in and you get started.
All right. Okay. Who was here on the last? Raise your hand. Virtual. The reactions button. If you were here for the first call, I see Cynthia. I know you were here. Lupe was here. Tina, you weren't here. No, Tina, the first time. Kim, I missed you. Oh my goodness. Anna, you were not here, but I got to see you at EXPCon. I didn't know who you were until you started speaking. I was like, oh, hey. All right. So who else? That's it. Okay. So Christina, no, Cynthia, you're responsible for giving us a recap of the first month. Now, here's the thing. You cannot get it wrong, Cynthia. You cannot get it wrong. Okay? Because they weren't here. It's on them. So, what was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from um, month one?
You're muted.
I think she's looking for the button there.
Megan, can
There
she
you go.
unmute? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you know what? I know I didn't ask you to be ready for this, and after my experience of you at EXPCon, I know you can handle it. So, what was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from the first part?
I think my biggest takeaway last time, the first part that we were in, you basically asked me like when I come into something like and how do I react to it? And I said
Mhm.
I'm a perfectionist. I always think I'm never doing it right, and that got me thinking on it. And especially it went like hand in hand with the homework that you sent us to put it on ChatGPT, and I got like the same results. I have
Mhm.
I got the same results like uh the what is actually happening into your brain, like your mindset and all of that stuff. So to me, it was very impactful, just that little participation that we had with you. And of course, it was nice meeting you at the ESPCon.
Mhm.
But that participation just got me going because it's like, yes, we always go back to where our emotions are comfortable most
Mhm.
more than anything.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know if I got it right though.
No, well, no. Oh, now, hold on. Why did you do that? Why did you say that right there at the very end?
Because it got, like I said, it got me thinking, and when I went to ChatGPT, it all aligned to what it actually is. It's
Right. Oh
like
no, that's not the part I'm talking about. I'm talking about the part where you said, "I don't know if I got that right. I don't know if that's right, but da 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 da." Why did you do that part?
same thing because to me, it's always like, am I doing the right thing? Am I,
Bingo.
yes.
So
And
good. You see right there, it came right. So even though we talk about it and we mention this, oh, okay, man, I have this perfectionist, and then this perfectionist approach. If I don't get it perfect, or if I don't feel it was perfect, then you start to spiral down this, okay, beating yourself up. That wasn't good enough, so forth and so on. So even as you were speaking about it, Cynthia, even as you were speaking about it, and I totally got it. I totally understood. Even Lupe, you heard me, all right? I said. You cannot get this wrong because
uh-huh.
these are your notes. It's not your fault that people weren't here the first time. Okay, so you can't get it wrong. It's whatever you got, right? So even with that open door, still at the end, the questions come up. Not because you're wrong, not because you made, a mistake, but because that's how programming and conditioning works. And we
Mhm.
will always resort to our um, what I'll just call our standard. Okay, and that's a little bit what we're going to explore this week. Okay, but we will always resort to our particular standard, and our standard is based on what our beliefs are. Okay, that's what our beliefs are. All right. Lupe, your biggest same thing I'll say to Cynthia. Okay, cannot be incorrect. We're just trying to help some people who weren't here get caught up. So, what was your biggest takeaway from session one?
From section one, biggest takeaway. Um, mindset is really big for me, and I've been, listening to you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the biggest takeaway? Um, Probably the self-doubting, right? The
Mm,
self-doubting of what yourself basically getting in your own way,
yeah,
right? For that.
big one. It's and what we because I probably won't go into it today. However, something to note, okay, is that even our self-doubt, if we start to look at our self-doubt as like a protector, our self-doubt is a guard. It's like it's there to protect us from what it believes will be impending like danger or disaster or whatever the case might be. So the reason we have self-doubt is because our nervous system is looking to protect us from what it projects as something that will be disappointing or hurtful or will be let down or what the case may be. And the reason is you say, well, okay, well, why would it do that? It happens anytime you're looking to move into a new space or new level. Anytime you're looking to go to, a higher dimension. Remember, we explored in session one that your nervous system is not interpreting it as good or bad, even right or wrong. It's familiar or different.
Mm.
That's its only guide. Is this familiar? Is it known or unknown? Is this familiar or different? And if it's different, then it looks to keep us from experiencing it because it is an unknown. So it will introduce self-doubt as a way to keep us, or as a way to protect us from danger. So from a survival standpoint, Lupe, it's like, okay, if I am not absolutely sure that this is safe, then it's safer not to go. Doesn't matter what it is. If I don't know what it is, but I'm already familiar where I am, I can 100% guarantee that this place where I'm familiar, I can at least survive in. But that new level that you want to go to, Lupe, maybe it's 50-50. Maybe it's, 60-40 safe and not safe. Maybe it's 90-10. So really, really impressive odds. It could be 99-1. Really high odds. But let me ask you this, since I flew in this morning to Houston. If you were about to board a flight and there were 100 passengers on that flight, and before you boarded the flight, they announced at the gate that there is going to be an accident of some form, and 99 of you will live. One of you, though, guaranteed, is not going to make it. We don't know who that is. We're not sure, but guaranteed one of you is not going to make it. Would you get on that flight? You know what I mean? Even though it's not, your odds are 99-1. You're like, for some, he's like, no, I'm just going on vacation. So yeah, no. It depends on what's on the other side, right? So your nervous system is really interpreting everything as known or unknown, familiar or unfamiliar. And what it reads as unfamiliar, it will look to protect you from. So what I'm getting at is self-doubt is not a bad thing. Self-doubt isn't a negative. It's a survival mechanism. All right. Great job, Lupe. Great job. Great job. Anyone else that was here from week 1 or session 1? What's up, Dan? How you doing? So good to see you, friend. So good to see you. Okay. Moises.
What's up, Cortland? How we doing, man?
Can you appreciate how I pronounce that though? Can you appreciate?
Moises.
Yeah, Moises. Okay, all right.
Yes,
So
yes,
your
sir.
biggest takeaway from session 1. Biggest
Oh,
takeaway from
I
session
just
1.
jumped on right now. I was really trying to remember, but there was a lot of takeaways.
Oh, there were so
but
many I can't even remember them. They were
to
so
be
good. I don't
honest, yeah,
remember
a lot
nothing you
of
said.
yeah, a lot of insight for sure. A lot of insight for sure when it came to. I think the biggest shift was like, I think that you said the biggest message of the entire training was like, this stuff is not our fault. Like this is just stuff the programs, the old us, the stuff that got us to the point where we're at now. But we can change those and we can shift those, right? Sometimes, obviously for me, the things that show up are like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Everything feels good. From working out to financials to business, and then it's like, how can I kill this inside? And then that guilt shows up, maybe, this weekend, all the extra chocolate that I had, I came on Monday and I was like, man, like, here comes the self-sabotage and here comes the guilt and the shame. And it's like, I have a morning routine to help me get out of those things and those things that I do, right? To always perform at the highest level. But it's always like that circle. It's always like that cycle that you have to go through, and it's like, yeah, you have to go through that process of feeling guilty and shameful of the small things, and showing up in your business is very similar, right? In our business, not prospecting, not following up, not doing what we're supposed to do. All those.
Why do you think you do that?
And, yeah.
Why do you think you do that? Just take a stab at it. It's like, like every time that happens for you, what's like the belief that gets reinforced? Like you like, see, there it is again. There it is again.
Yeah. I think the one, all the work that I do, right? I do a lot of self-work, a lot of like inner work, and I always turn the mirror and I look inside. It's like, what is it, right? But the one thing that always shows up for me, and I feel like it's that one of those deep roots that is like so deep from when I was a child, right? That I'm trying to really get down there. I cut it at certain times.
Okay.
It's so deep, right? And
Yeah.
Is the enough? Am I enough? right? And
Mm.
it's like, and I know that's just me. I
Mhm.
always go back and I do my affirmations and I do my journaling. I know that I'm enough. I know that I'm enough, and I believe it and I feel it. But it's such a deep root, right? That I'm like, damn, like, why isn't my mom see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Why
That's good.
isn't, even I've been married for 15 years. I'll be honest with everybody here. I'm a vulnerable guy. Sometimes my wife don't believe in me.
Mhm.
Sometimes our
Mhm.
significant others don't believe as much in my own dreams and visions of what I see in my life. I'll
Mhm.
come running to
Mhm.
her, be like, babe, I just got this vision.
Uh-huh.
And I pour it out. She's just like, okay.
Okay.
And I have to walk through myself through that process of like, well, it's my vision, it's my goal, it's my feeling. She's not gonna feel what I feel. It's not her vision, it's not her goal. It wasn't planted in her heart, right? But again, it's like, it's like I always get like that. Are you enough to accomplish
Mhm.
that? You know what I mean?
I'm
It's
that's I mean I wasn't planning to do this, but I want to ask you a question. You can answer it or not answer it. It's all good. How would you describe your relationship with your word? Like when you give your word. And I want you to look at it two ways. I want you to look at it two ways. Okay. I want you to look at it when you give your word to other people and like let's say rate it. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I have never broken my word to anybody, or you can take it to the bank. If I say I'm going to do it, it's done. That
yeah,
would be like a 10. And then a 1 would be whatever you see as the opposite of that. So
yeah,
look at it when you give your word to other people, and then when you give your word to yourself.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
at this moment of my life, I'm impeccable with my word in my mind and what I say and how I feel. So I feel like what I say I do. I walk my talk at the highest level at this moment. So I'll probably give myself a 9 to others
Okay.
because I don't say things and I don't do. Even with
Yeah.
myself, like even my own goals, I've learned to put myself ahead of what I want.
Uh-huh.
And if I say something I'm gonna do, I do it. And that's from the
Okay.
smallest things, from picking up a piece of trash to doing something. So, but I'll give myself maybe an 8 because there's still
Okay.
some space of a lot of work in there for myself.
9 for others, 8 for yourself. That's good. That's real good. Okay, because a simple framework to build confidence, and you guys, and thank you for that, Moises. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna so take. You can listen to the recording or take what you heard from those who just shared to catch up on week one. I mean, session one. We're now in session two. A simple. Yeah, Daniel, did you raise your hand?
Oh, quick question, quick question. Hopefully a quick answer so we can get on with the amazing stuff that we
I
got.
don't know. I get a little winded sometimes. I get a
Oh
little
boy.
winded.
So, really quickly, how do we, well, some of us have how to say, a deeper lizard brain, which
Hmm.
keeps us from, right, which is what we commonly known as not moving from your past.
Yeah. Your
So
amygdala.
is that more genetic once again? That's coming from the deep seated of I'm not gonna move forward because yeah, I know what it is like now, but I don't. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Some of us have a deeper challenge with, that.
Yeah.
So
You
how
got.
do we make it more manageable? I guess is what.
I understand. Great and a great question. It's a great question. All right. So it's not that some of us have deeper, and then others have deeper, and then others have deeper, and then others have deeper. Okay. We all have 3 levels. Okay, of our brain, not mind. You've been in classes where I talk about the mind 3 levels, but in our brain has 3. This is what's called triune brain theory. TRIUNE, triune brain theory. And in triune brain theory, it suggests that the first and oldest part of the brain is your limbic brain or reptilian brain, what you're calling lizard brain. Okay, that is the oldest part of our brain. Okay, it is the oldest and the least developed. Okay, it's the closest to animal. Is our is that part of reptilian brain? Okay,
Primordial, as it were.
primordial. Yeah, our original selves. Okay, then you have your limbic. Okay, and then there's the prefrontal cortex. Okay, Your prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that is reason and logic. All right. Reason and logic part, that's the part that wants to make sense. That's the part of us, Moises, that's like, man, I mean, I know what to do, but I can't get myself to do it. You know, it's that's the part that's like, I know these are the actions to take in my business, but for whatever reason, I can't get myself to take those actions. And so when your prefrontal cortex and your limbic or your reptilian brain are in conflict, then the reptilian brain wins. Okay, so to your question, Daniel, to your point, so well, okay, so how do we undo it? Well, we may get there in session 3, and if not, we might have to do a bonus session so we get there. Okay, but that's what we're building towards. But I can tell you that the how-to around doing that is to recognize that your brain continues to experience that because you have emotional connection to the experiences that shape the belief in the first place. So when Moises says, well, you know, I'm still wondering if I'm enough, I'm still wondering if I'm enough, you know, and then he, you know, what was fascinating to me was like, well, like even with my mom, I'm like, that instantly revealed with me, and he said, and his, you know, his partner's wife, okay, there's an emotional connection, there's an emotional reinforcement. And so, as I mentioned in session 1, we actually become addicted to the feelings. We are addicted to the emotions. Now, if our prefrontal cortex is looking to interpret that, it's like, well, that doesn't make any logical sense. That makes no sense at all. Like, why would I be? It's the chemicals that are. If I take so the chemicals that get released in your body when there are emotionally charged events, be that being encouraged and you know someone believes in you and you were driven to tears and you made it through the challenge and like you made it, or if it was an event or an experience where you felt less than, you were embarrassed or you were ashamed, there are still chemicals that are released in your body, chemicals that are released through your nervous system. And what happens is our bodies become addicted to the chemical. I keep saying addicted to the emotion, but it's the chemical it's the chemical that gets released. So therefore, if I am wired for a feeling of I'm not good enough, or if I'm wired for a feeling of I'm not deserving, then that cycle, that loop that sets it up for me to return to that spot or to that place is actually doing the job of feeding that chemical addiction in my nervous system. So what we have to do then is we take ourselves back to we go back as far as we can to identify what was the event or the experience where that belief started to take shape, and we can rewrite the story, we rewrite the meaning that we give it. Now I've landed on a process now where we can do that in 30 to 45 minutes, not an entire week or 10 days or whatever the case might be, but it's a deliberate process of rewiring. But until unless we reframe or reassociate the meaning, then we keep repeating the cycle. And though sometimes it may lay dormant for 20 years. It could lay dormant for 10 years, and then out of nowhere, boom, there it is again. That's why you hear so many people say, man, like, I thought I was over that. I thought I was done with that, because it can lie dormant until a triggering event brings it back out. So one of the things, and write this down, is it's the law of relativity. Okay. I promise I'm gonna get to today's content. I promise. Law of relativity and the law of vibration. Okay. The rest of it you've heard me talk about You have to go find some other times when I was with Rosie, listen to some past recordings, okay? The law of vibration. Okay, so since we were talking about frequency a little bit earlier with music and so forth, I understand that the music comes on and it could seem or feel like, trivial. Oh, there's Rosie dancing again. Oh God, here we go. There's Cortland dancing with music to start. Can we just get on with it? Can we just start? I ask for things like, I might say, enter into the chat or who'd like to share. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through all of that. I'm just ready to get going. I'm just ready to get started. Not realizing that because you're skipping those parts is the reason why you stay where you are. Because learning is an active process. There's nothing happening for you just listening to me. I know my voice might, be a thing of envy, but the reality is, as it relates to your growth and development, where there is no participation, there is no activation of the rewiring. Okay, so you just passively checking it out, kind of like you're kicking tires. Thanks for being here. But in truth, if you're serious about true transformation, it is an active process. Okay, so that's why, Cynthia, I provided you with some homework. Kudos to you for doing that homework. And I said, enter this in exactly this way. And I can tell that you did the homework because part of the design of that homework is to have it haunt you. That's the word that I used in the prompt. I said I want it to be haunting. I want it to linger. I want a participant who does this homework. I have to go back and find the prompt. You'll be like, oh my God, it did it. Like, I want it to stick with you so much that you're not able to put it down, where it constantly has you going through your own process of growth, discovery, and development. Because let's be honest, who has time to, every time you need to grow, go spend 3 days in a seminar? Who has time to, every time you need to grow, go spend 7 days? It's like, I get that, but some of this shit, some of these things I need to be able to do on my own. So what would it be like if I had that in my pocket and now I'm moving in and out of my day? Make sense? So kudos to you for doing that. Now, back to the law of vibration, because I got off a little bit. I told you, Daniel, I get a little winded sometimes. So when I start music in the beginning, it's not because I'm looking to feel 3 minutes. It's because I understand and know the power of frequency, vibration, and getting yourself into a state of learning. It's preparing your nervous system, so your reason and logic might be, why is this even necessary? This is so trivial. Why are we even doing this? But we're already bypassing your prefrontal cortex and tapping into your limbic and reptilian brain, because that is the place that is actually feeling and experiencing the frequency of vibration that is what music can provide. You'll very rarely see me come onto a Zoom and not at least be smiling, because I know beyond your prefrontal cortex, I know what that does to your nervous system. I know what that does. So when we talk about shifting your consciousness, we're not doing it at the level of your reason and logic, okay? This is at the deeper level where your emotions and beliefs and conditioning are already housed. So I ask you to write down law of vibration and law of relativity, because there are 7, 8 laws primarily, but again, you have to look back on those. One is the law of vibration. So the law of vibration is essentially all a feeling is. All a feeling is. I'm happy, I'm mad. I'm excited, I'm pissed off. All a feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. That's all a feeling is. I'm consciously aware of where I'm vibrating or what I'm vibrating on. Okay. So mute yourself for me, Daniel. Okay. I'm consciously aware of my vibration. That's all a feeling is. Okay. So one of the most particularly, and I'm not saying this to be any type of way. Okay. So don't get offended. But I know for sure in raising sons, let me do it this way. One of the greatest gifts I have given my sons, one of the greatest gifts you can give a young boy is the ability to label his feeling. So often taught not to feel, crying is weakness. And so you have a lot of men, frankly, just so in this day and age, I get so tiptoeing in eggshells using men and women, but just know my heart. So you get a lot of people who don't know how to share what they're feeling. So they can express anger, and that's pretty much it. Okay, because I've been conditioned on what I ought to do if I feel threatened or picked on or whatever it is. So I can get angry, but really after that, nothing else. One of the greatest gifts you can give a man or a young boy is the ability to label what he's feeling. Okay. Now, so all of vibration is, and the reason why that's important is because all the law of vibration is, it's saying I'm consciously aware of a feeling. A feeling is a conscious awareness of vibration. So I'm aware of what my frequency is right now. And if I have an understanding that where I'm vibrating or my frequency attracts to me more of the same, if I'm aware of what my frequency is, then I'm more empowered to change it. If I understand that the law says that what I am, my vibration, my frequency brings to me more of whatever would fit on that particular vibration, then okay, so if my attitude is pessimistic and cynicism and it's never going to work out and I'm downtrodden and I'm loathing myself and I'm envious and jealous of other people's successes and whatever the case might be, my awareness of that at least informs me that I'm going to be attracting more of that. So I want to at least get to the place where I can say, well, if I'm going to be getting more of this, is this what I want? Okay. So the law of vibration, feeling is a conscious awareness of vibration. Now we're going to tie that to the second law that I asked you to write down, which is the law of relativity. This is where it's going to make sense for you in a moment, Daniel. Okay. It just takes a while sometimes to build it up when we're not just being hype and we're adding science. I don't do hype. I'm not a gimmick. We do science so you can walk away knowing, oh, okay, this is how this actually works. Okay. So the law of relativity is very simply, we take from the word relate. Okay. And we say, all right, so nothing is either good or bad, right or wrong, positive or negative, until we relate it to something else. Okay. So I'm 5'10". If I'm standing next to a person who's 5'3", I'm tall. But standing next to Shaquille O'Neal, I'm short. Well, actually, I'm just 5'10", not tall or short, until I relate it to something else. Is this making sense? Okay. So now take your business. What you're doing in your business, we could say that it's not good or bad until, or your productivity, not good or bad until you relate it to something else. Now, here's the thing. The reason why this is important is because as human beings, we tend to relate ourselves unfavorably. When it's time to relate ourselves, we tend to relate ourselves, we can use that word, we compare ourselves to people in a way that diminishes us. So now I look at Rosie's results and I'm like, well, I suck. Like, I'm never going to do what she's doing. Like, I could never get there. I could never do that, right? So what happens is when we relate ourselves unfavorably, it produces what type of emotion? Bad feelings about yourself. Well, why is that important? Well, now we know through the law of vibration that however I'm feeling, I'm going to attract into my life more of whatever fits on that frequency. So therefore, if I'm relating myself in an unfavorable way, it's actually working to bring more of what I don't want to experience. But that in turn is your reptilian brain and the amygdala doing the job of keeping you in the place that is already familiar. Is this making sense? I know it was a long way to answer it, but there you go. Okay. All right. So, law of vibration, law of relativity. Now, if what we're looking to do then is how do we break free? Okay. We looked at in session 1, that all of it is by design, that your nervous system is looking to protect you. You're not wrong. You're not bad. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not messed up. It's not that you're not good enough. Okay. But you're using the law of relativity in a way that brings you down or diminishes you. We could say that. However, the nervous system and is not there and doesn't care necessarily about you getting your goal. It's not there to make sure that you fulfill on your potential. That's not its job. Its job is to keep you safe. Its job is to keep you in a place that is familiar and comfortable. That's its purpose. And so, as we explored in session 1, comfort can't be the outcome that you desire, because you can be comfortable in a thing that is not good for you. You can be comfortable in a space. You can get used to making ends meet and never having money. You can get used to that and become kind of comfortable in it. Okay, so comfort can't be the goal. Well, it can be. I just don't advise it. But your nervous system is looking to keep you in a place that is familiar. So we say, well, wait a minute. I have a new goal. I'm moving into 2026. I'm going into 2026, and I'm like, I'm tired of saying that this is going to be my year. Like, this is going to be. I'm ready to not be talking about it. I'm ready to have that be the case. So, well, just know that when you make that declaration, it sends off sirens in your nervous system. Your nervous system like, no, 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 because we don't know what that's like. We don't know what that next level is like, right? And so it's like, no, this is my year. This is my year. And your nervous system is like, yeah. You just wait till after this Zoom. You just wait. You just wait till I get you by yourself in that car, Helen. You just wait. You just wait. Don't listen to that guy, in that denim shirt. We don't know what that next level looks like. We don't know what we're gonna do with all that money, right? We don't know anything about managing income like that. We don't know anything about having a team of an organization, and being recognized, on the main stage at EXPCon. Like, that's for other people. That's not, we don't do that. We don't do that, right? And so your nervous system is like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And so what happens is you say, well, but I need to override it. How many of you want to type of 1 in the chat if you want to override your nervous system, right? You'd be like, I appreciate you doing your job, but I'm looking to override you, okay? So it turns out that, and I'll give you this piece this week, and then some of it will be in a prompt. It turns out that the way to go or move to the next level is you have to raise your standards where you currently are. So, for example, I started looking at my life, and this is one of the things that I want you to do. I started to look at my life and ask, where am I accepting things that ought be unacceptable? Meaning, where am I tolerating things that I shouldn't tolerate? Okay. Now, the first step is, before there can be transformation, the first step is awareness. Okay. So it may not look for you like you go out and you start getting rid of everything that is unacceptable, because some of you wouldn't find yourselves married. Some of you would be like, so I'm not saying go out and do that, okay? But it may be time to have a conversation around, hello, love. I was sharing today with a group that one of the areas of my life where I don't feel that there is belief in me is in my marriage. And yeah, that's not okay. So what do you need from me? What would you need to see in order to shift your current view or image of me? Because I'm not okay being in partnership with someone who doesn't believe in me. It might look like I found myself, this is how I stopped eating McDonald's and drinking soda as of February 4th. I started looking and I said, what do you have to think about yourself truly, Cortland? And this is a real conversation I was having with myself. So what do you have to think about yourself truly to feed your body that? I'm not saying stop, but what does it say that you truly think and believe about you that you would put that in your body? That's how, and when I start looking at it that way, I haven't been to McDonald's, and it also helped me get off soda. Just that reframe. I was accepting something that ought be unacceptable. Now, it's going to be different for everybody. So that's why it's not just a blanket that, I can't preach at you, okay? But it is worth asking the question. I saw a shift in my income. I saw a shift in my finances when I said, you are incredibly talented. You have a beautiful gift, and you have given and poured yourself into literally tens of thousands of people. What is it about you that you feel like you can't keep any of the money that you see? I just asked myself the question just like that. It's just like, oh, right. So part of the homework will be for you to explore and look at, and the prompt will guide you through it, asking you a series of questions where you begin to look at the areas of your life where you are making acceptable what ought be unacceptable. And then it will guide you through a process for implementing changes, sometimes drastic, sometimes subtle, so that your nervous system can begin to feel a shift. Okay? So hopefully this is starting to make sense as we piece this together. First, you got to be aware of the nervous system and what's happening in your body. Then, with that awareness, now we want to shift some things, okay? And it's not going to happen just from a lecture or Zoom class or Zoom meeting, okay? But when you start to make those shifts, I want you to feel it in your body. Because oftentimes what happens is we start to feel it in our bodies and we use it as a sign or a signal like, oh, okay, this isn't right for me. I must be, this is, it's not me. Well, technically that's true. Like it hasn't been you. It's because you become comfortable with something else. So now a new process, a new orientation, a new system is presented, a new pathway to, creating financial liberty and abundance. And guess what? As you get on that path and you start to do the things, you start to implement the processes, you start to follow the system like, Rosie and others have designed and developed, you find yourself doing it, and it's your physical body is having a reaction to it. So much so that you start to question and doubt it. And then you start to question and doubt it, and you go back to what you knew, because that is the job of your nervous system, is to keep you in the place that is familiar. So now, when we start to take on new actions, you're going to know, oh, wait a minute, that actually means that my nervous system, the word for it is remyelinating, but that actually means that my nervous system is actually reprogramming itself through this action. So therefore, when I find myself resistant to taking the action, that's actually a signal to lean forward. My nervous system thinks I'm in danger, but I'm not standing at the edge of a very tall building. No, this is me wanting to level up in my life. And the way it works is whatever you tolerate, you get more of. Whatever you tolerate, you get more of. So if you tolerate being broke, you get to continue experiencing being broke. If you tolerate having relationships where people talk down to you, be they friendships, whatever, then you get more of that. If you tolerate not being able to walk 3 flights of stairs, then you get more of that, because your nervous system is doing the job of keeping you in the place where you are. So if you want to move to a higher level, you move, look, imagine it being like an escalator or an elevator, right? So you want to move to another level. The secret, if you want to call it that, or key, is you must raise the floor. Raising your floor actually lifts you higher. Is this making sense, Teresa? Is this making sense? Okay, all right. So you raise the floor. How do we raise the floor? We shift our standards. And so it might start with, hey, you know what? I don't have the income that I am going to have, here soon, but how I treat myself currently is that of a person making the income that I desire to make. So how I talk to myself, how I treat myself physically, where I eat, where I dine, I'm going to get the best of, if I'm going to do fast food, then I'm going to get the best available fast food. I'm going to get the freshest ingredients of all. So that might mean that I pull up, some spreadsheet or Google it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, of all of the fast food options, okay, which of all of the fast food options is going to be the most healthy? Because if I'm going to have fast food, I'm going to raise my standard of fast food. You get the idea? Okay. So you might look at, okay, so for what I can afford, what is the best available option for what I can afford? And I'm only going to operate from the best of what I can afford at the level I'm on. It doesn't mean, like some would suggest in personal, oh, just go out and splurge. And that's not what that means. It means for where I am, what is the minimum requirement that I will allow of myself? So translate to business and business process, okay? So you might say, all right, I'm building an EXP organization. The minimum, everybody catch this, the minimum standard that I will allow for myself and call it a business is X number of calls a day, period. I may not be like, Brent Conley when he got started and he was, 12, 14 hours a day calling every single, man, that sounds great on stage and maybe one day. But for where I am right now, I am going to do the absolute best for where I currently am. So therefore, what are you doing? You're now using the law of relativity in your favor, because now you're not relating yourself. Catch this, especially for those with your phones off, cameras off. Catch this. Don't be distracted because something good is coming. Right? So now you're using the law of relativity in your favor because you're not relating yourself unfavorably to someone else. You are now relating yourself to who you were the day before. And you can always be better than you were the day before. Always. Now, how do you feel when you know that you did more today than you did on yesterday? When you know that you got 1% better today than you were yesterday? Now, how do you feel? Man, I feel proud. I feel confident. I'm starting to, I'm building momentum. Guess what that does? The law of vibration says that a feeling is a conscious awareness of vibration. So now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I'm keeping my word to myself. Now, all of a sudden, my confidence starts to grow. Now my frequency of vibration is different. Now, as my frequency of vibration becomes different, I attract a different type of conversation. I attract a different type of person. I see opportunities where I used to not see opportunity. Is this making sense? So there's actual science to getting better. And understand that every single day that goes by where you do nothing, you only reinforce the belief that was already there, which means you stay where you are. 4 minutes to go. I have another Zoom at 1 o'clock, so I got to stop.
So Cortland is so good. It's always so good, right? And I write notes. So I just wanted to kind of recap really quickly, and then we'll open it up for a couple questions. One is just the theory of relativity or relate, right? Where like I look at that at like kind of just in our space, or whatever business space, like we compare, look at that person that they're this successful, that successful, they're doing this, they're doing that. And that's an outward focused activity, right? So I translate that into like go inward, right? And say, okay, great, that's them where they're at. They're 30 years old, no kids, conquering the world. That's their situation. I'm like a different person. And so, when you go down to, okay, that's them, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to get closer to my goal if it's, this group or that group or not, or, this number of agents, this number of sales. So going inward. And then we went into, being comfortable. And I know one of the biggest principles that I learned from you, over 10 years ago was growth or decay, where to me, comfort equals decay.
Correct.
I'm just okay right here. I'm just okay. Like the world keeps moving. So you just okay right there is you decaying because you're not moving forward.
That's exactly right. What do we do when a person is at the end of their life? We want to make them what?
Comfortable. Yeah.
I was comfort I look at is what we get just before death. My vibe board at my studio at home is having some issues. I call vibe support. And they were like, well, unfortunately, this is what they said. This is an end of life model. I said, So we have new models since you got this one back in 2020 or 2021. This is an end of life model. So when we talk about comfort, right? That's essentially what you're doing, is preparing yourself for death. That's what we
So,
do at
so
end
let
of
me
life.
ask you, because there's this argument, right, where somebody
Mhm.
would say, well, no, I'm okay. Like, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of burnt out. Like, I just want to sit on the porch and drink a beer and like,
Mhm.
I'm good at this point now. Like, what would you say to something or that conversation?
Honestly, I would say then I have nothing for you. I'm going to
Mhm.
respect that that's where they are because it's
Yeah,
going to require too much energy of me
yeah,
to get them moving.
yeah.
And, usually life will dictate that, when things stop producing, they die. You
Mm,
look at the studies of people that work 40 years and then die 2 years after retirement, right? Because we are designed to be purposeful. So I'm not going to do, respectfully, I would honor that that's where a person is. But there are also ways to ask questions because ultimately, like, it's true. They are okay. They are comfortable where they are, but it's not them. It's not the essence of who they are who's speaking. It's their programming and conditioning that's speaking because our innate place is not to stop our growth. When we're operating from our authentic self, there's always a desire to grow and expand. So if I am not feeling the pull, if I'm not compelled to go do more, that's actually very alarming because I'm working against what life is. Again, that's science. So if I'm actually moving against life, I might ask, if we were in a class, I might ask, what is it? So what happens such that you're looking to speed up the process of your death?
I love that. I love that. And you know what? I was just gonna, we didn't cover this, but I
Mhm.
would say that sometimes for people, it's really taking a look at like your habits, right? Because are you sleeping well?
Mhm.
Are you going out for walks? Are you exercising? Because as we age, which you and I may not be there yet, but as
Mhm.
we age, sometimes like the levels of chemicals in our body that are
Mhm.
necessary are not the same as when we were 3, woke up jumping on the bed,
That's
right?
exactly right. That's
And
exactly right.
so and so I would just kind of add that, if you're in this mediocre place, right? And you're like, I'm okay being mediocre and all the good things, like, no, you're not. Like what it is maybe your energy level isn't at a place and maybe you need to go inwards, work on yourself, take care of yourself, do more reading, like do some exercise, listen to people like Cortland Warren, and so that you can then like raise the floor, right? Because
Mhm.
right now you're on that path to like, how quickly can I just sit here and die? Versus like, hey, I'm a gifted, amazing individual, and I would love to volunteer. I would love to, invest. I would love to grow my career, grow a team, or whatnot. But you're not, like being in that place where you want to sit on the porch and have a beer is really just like kind of decaying. Like you're just gonna
Mhm.
sit there and, you know,
Yeah, it's
right?
a very delicate, it's a delicate balance. But I believe that um, we are innately designed to expend all of ourselves. And maybe it is that a person has created all that they want for themselves. Leadership and legacy is like, okay, so now whose life will be better because you existed on the planet? And so maybe what wakes them up is taking what they know and imparting that wisdom into someone else. I love it, and I did send, but I sent him a text that I was on my way. I
Yep.
have another Zoom that I have to start at the top of the hour. Moises, I see your hand. I apologize. I won't be able to take it today. But thank you all so much. The prompt will get sent out today. Okay. Moises, if you want to just like send me a email or something like that, I hate not to answer your question, but I want to be respectful of, you know, the group that's waiting right now. But the prompt you'll get, put it in exactly like it is, and it's designed to have it lead to more questions. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Cortland.
you, and we'll see you next time, okay?
December 2nd. We'll see you December 2nd.
I need to
Yes,
know that.
sir.
I need
Yes,
to know
sir.
that, so I'm not out
Yes,
on a
sir.
golf course someplace.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye, everybody. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you,
Oh, you know what?
everybody.
You know what? If
Yes.
I'm going to send a link, I'm going to send a link to Rosie. If you appreciated this session, or if you appreciated the previous session, I'm going to send a link that will also include a Google review. Do not click on that link if you're not going to put 5 stars. Just don't even worry about it. Forget I even said it. If you want to comment, you can, but at least a 5-star. Okay. All right. That's it. I got to roll. Okay. All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Cortland.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. So you
Thank
guys,
you.
I'll send you that link to get a review. And also I would love to get a review on, you know, the sessions that we're doing if you guys are finding value. I love this stuff. I learn every time, and I love to invite other people to that path. So thank you so much for being here. Our next session is December 2nd.
I just wanted to say to you real quick, I almost thought you were talking about me until you said beer. I was like, I know Rosie, if she was talking about me, she would have said I'd be on my porch with a glass of wine. But I so felt that. I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, thank you, Anna. You know what? We all have that, by the way. Like, all of us wake up on some days feeling like, you know what? I think I'd rather just like sit on a beach and, you know, have a margarita. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, you do that day in and day out. There's something there, you know, where there isn't some little voice that's saying, hey, I want to be a better version of myself because I have goals that I still haven't met, right? Write a bucket list, you know, do a new list of like 100 things that you always wanted to do in your life, and like let that be your inspiration. Or maybe you're, you know, like there's a little voice inside that says I want to be a better version of myself because I want to impact my kids or my grandkids. Like whatever it is, there's always something in there that deep inside there's something that wants to do better, be more. Not that there's anything wrong with you where you are. You're perfect in this state. However, we're not done. Like we still have, you know, we still have more to grow. We still have more to contribute. And so again, super excited. You're all going to get that homework assignment via email. We have all your emails. If I don't have your email, please email me at rosie.rodriguez at exprealty.com, and I'll make sure to get you the link. I also have last month's session, so I can send you the recording for that and the homework if you, for whatever reason, just found out about this. So next session is December 2nd. Thank you guys for being here, and see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks, Rosie.
Thank you.
Thank you.